everybody, and welcome to another video. And I just want to say apologies for the jump scare into rings. Shortly after I posted my last video, and actually I had another video regarding the setup of that particular book, which was the freely planned TN, which I literally only shared I think a couple weeks ago. There was some pretty big changes that happened within my personal and professional life, and I will share more of that with you guys as time goes on. And once I figure out how to explain it all, it's all good things. It's all good things. It's all really good things. But it meant that being in a bound book just literally wasn't working. And I have no way to describe how it wasn't working except for I literally didn't pick up my bound book for a solid 5 or 6 days. I was keeping everything digitally and then subsequently also getting very overwhelmed and knew I needed to do something. And so I went into my storage and pulled out a rings cover. Now this is a personal wide rings cover. This is a Naya Papery custom that I had made in the latte leather, and I do love this cover. I have never had any issues with this cover. I previously had some not so great experiences with her shop. I will not be purchasing from her shop again, but this particular cover was really great. This leather is so fun and so beautiful. And I found out in my little experiment with rings in the 2023, 2024 years that I really like Franklin Covey compact size inserts. And I don't mind them in a personal wide cover. I have tried to fit them in the Moterm cover because the Moterm Personal Luxe 2.0s do fit Franklin Covey compact, but only just. And you'll see why me putting this in personal wide works better. And I have a couple of VDS personal wide covers that I will hop in and out of. And I actually have one from Sojourner that I will be grabbing this week from Rowena. We're both local and we hang out at the same coffee shop. So we're having a little journal sesh this week. But I am excited to show you this setup. Now, before I get into all of this, I want you to understand that the initial setup of this, I did not actually physically print anything. I purchased pre-printed items from May Paper Co. on their Amazon shop because they would show up in a couple days. And also keep in mind that I already had a rings cover. A lot of the peripherals and extras I already had in my storage, so I didn't have to get anything except for just the printed inserts. I basically put together the bare bones of what I needed. And finally, this afternoon, had a little bit of time to get the other little peripherals and things updated into this notebook. Now, what's likely going to happen this year that I did do in 2023 and 2024 was I used rings as an archival system where a lot of my annual information for health, for cycle tracking, for goals and things like that, I kept in a rings binder. And I did not set anything like that up for 2025. I was planning on keeping everything in TN, everything either in inserts or in some kind of bound system where I could archive any of the information. But I found myself trying to force it a little bit, not like a ton, like it was working, but I kept going through, well, I need room to do this and I need room to do that. I just needed something very functional. So here we go. You'll see here at the very beginning, I just have Aloe's Creative Corner, just a little thing, and then a little pin. This is my passport insert that I use for logging my personal spending on a weekly basis. And then in here is where I have my date stickers, and you can see all the days that I have not journaled because I usually pull one of these stickers for my micro journaling entries. And then these I have been putting onto my dailies on the note side of my dailies, which you'll see here in a little bit. And then my little icons for my annual trackers. I did put just some stickers. I've been using my TN insert with the sticker release paper, and that has been my go-to, but I have not really been using a lot of stickers or really spending a lot of leisure time journaling recently, which I'm hoping to change that coming up. But I'm not going to stress too much about using stickers in here because while things are calming down here in the next few weeks, they're still going to be extremely busy over the next few months. I'm going to just basically offload. This is a blank piece of sticker release paper. I'm just going to continue to offload little handfuls of stickers here and there to have. So I just have them in here when I want them. This and this are both inserts from Paperbound Creations that both have a little secretarial flap, and I'm currently using them for extra pen loops. I do have a leather flyleaf for this with a pen loop on it, but I don't love that these are not elasticated, so they don't hold these pens very well. And then this is a personal sized little insert that I got from Planix Stowe. If I'm quite honest, I think I'm gonna take this out because I haven't been using any of this, and I think it's just taking up space. So the first section in here is going to be my annual section, and some of this is going to look very familiar. This is one of those extras that I did print from Infinite Lotus. Printed the printable version, the PDF, and I'll outline which ones were pre-printed that I purchased from. I did purchase some pre-printed from Infinite Lotus as well. These are also from Infinite Lotus. This is an annual overview, and I did this one out of order, but that's okay. I have major events and travel outlined here. First half of the year, second half of the year. I need to still input a few things that I forgot about. Then it goes into these sort of goal setting. And this is where I actually moved my quarterly goals and tracking of those things with the main focus of health, bodywork, mental health, and personal care. Now, I use this not the way it was originally intended. This is actually supposed to be quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, but since I only had 4 main areas, I really want to focus on a quarterly basis for my personal and physical health. I just made it area 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm just leaving that 5th one blank. And then I'm making a quarter 1, quarter 2, like these are the priorities and what gets moved forward. A little review for quarter 1. And then here's the month, so I can write out what I actually did every month as it relates to the goals in the quarter. And then same thing here. Then each section has a little review, which has been really nice. And so I'm going to keep my quarterly goals in here, which sort of replaces the quarterly goal overview of the Sterling ink, which is what inspired this sort of layout of what am I focusing on in each quarter. A little different layout, but I really like it. And then obviously I haven't filled this out. This is a yearly overview. It's just printed on different paper, which I changed my paper, and that's why. This is where I'm tracking like cycle trends and notes on a monthly basis because I'm really taking some interventions for my health this year to improve my endometriosis. So just notes on my cycle, and I had all my notes in various places, and I just finally consolidated them all. This is why I think for like goals and health tracking, it worked in 2023, it worked in 2024. Even if I move back into TN, I think I just need to keep a sort of annual overview in rings because that worked 2 years in a row, and I find myself in it again for a third year in a row. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Then I have in here my monthlies, which I did purchase printed from May Paper Co. So I got the monthly overview, which I ended up finding out that I really like for my monthlies, tracking medication and appointments for like health stuff specifically, which is really more fleshed out in my March. So if I actually look at March and April, that's where it actually looks more accurate. So here's March, where I tracked my peptides, my Adderall, if I did castor oil packs, took a THC gummy, had a bodywork appointment or a chiropractor appointment, and I just created a little key. And this is what the monthlies are actually useful for me for. I have to use my Google Calendar as like my main source of truth for monthly events because I have about 4 different calendars that things can get scheduled into. So I pull it all into my iCal, and that's like my master calendar. So I don't use a monthly paper planning to keep track of events, appointments, to-dos, etc. So a lot of my annual and like monthly overviews, where most people would use it maybe for planning, I use it more for health and personal care focused items. And then in between, I have put these daily trackers where, because I've been logging all my goals and I have everything kept, it was very easy for me to just go in and update January, February, March. And then in April, I have April just a little bit more in depth. I'd like in here using up the whole space. I wasn't about to draw out the visual for 3 months for January, February, March. I just did based off of the trends, which is perfectly fine. And this is what I have for April. So I have the different supplements I'm focusing on, my steps and my sleep, and I have my habits in another area. So I come in here and I'll log, when I open it up on a daily basis, I'll come in here. The first place I stop is this monthly, and I also update my tracker. And then I go into my annual, so cycle and intimacy, my weight log, and then my workout log. And these are printables from Peanuts Planner Co. And the way that I printed them, I printed and cut them wrong, so I had to white out the top and manually write in the month, which is totally fine. And then I used my little Randy Dot Plans icon stickers. So I did my annual logs. This is how I did these 2 years in a row. And they worked perfectly. I really liked it. Why did I feel the need to change it? Who knows? I wanted to try something different. That doesn't mean that I won't use TN ever again, but that just means that this will be where I upkeep a lot of these stats, and it will be easy for me to upkeep a lot of these stats because a lot of it gets logged digitally. On paper is where I compile it all together to review. And then I have these habit trackers, which are slightly different, where these are personal care daily habits that I want to do on a daily basis. So I still need to go back in and update February, but I have January, March, and April pretty much updated. And I'm going to just keep the whole year in here. Now, I haven't quite sorted out how I want to organize all of these in the front half with the trackers and everything, because I need to get a few more dividers. For these annual ones, I just put like an Avery sticky tab. But for now, it works, and as long as I know where everything's at. And I basically just backdated all of my habits that I logged from the very beginning of the year. I accidentally skipped this week, so I did put it up here. But I have all of the weeks and all of the different habits that I logged, plus a few little notes. And then this is this week, the week of April 28th that I'm currently in. And these are from Infinite Lotus. I ordered hard copies of these habit trackers, and I absolutely love them because there's plenty of room if I want to expand. But if I don't use every single row, it doesn't bother me. So this is the annual overview, health goals and focus, cycle trends, health focused specific habits and stats, medications and things like that here, and appointments. We've got then the annual overviews for cycle health and for cycle intimacy, weight and activities, movement log. Then we've got the weekly habits that change sometimes on a week to week basis, just depending on what I feel I'm struggling with, what I feel I need to focus on, things like that. I haven't done actually a goals reflection since the very beginning of March going into March, and that's because things have just been so busy since really the very beginning of March. It's been nonstop, and I do want to do a little goal reset at some point here shortly and update my reflections and update my targets and revisit everything that I have currently set up in Notion. I'm glad I have so much of this set up in Notion because I can just go back and recalibrate very easily. And that will help drive what these are. And I may include maybe a monthly, quarterly reflection type of insert in here somewhere to help with that. TBD. Okay, the next section is going to be my dailies, which when I first did all of this, right, I had just these personal pages that come with the Moterm inserts. I didn't have my inserts yet. And I printed a couple of these just to get me through these day on 2 page that I really like. But then I got the pre-printed May Paper Co. here. And you can see this is why it's been very bare bones. I tried to put a couple of stickers in here and there, and sometimes I do. But these I found were too small, and I figured, okay, listen, if I'm going to take the time to print, like if I'm going to prioritize printing something, it's going to be the day on 2 page. And then Kim, who is the sweetest person ever, ADH Done, if you don't know her, she has a stationery shop called Lily Paper Co. And she shared with me these day on 2 pages that have the date, the week, the month overview with the date, a little notes section up top, a nice long to-do list, a 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. 30-minute outlined timeline, and then grid note section over here. And when I tell you, this just scratches my brain in a way that makes me so happy. And you can see, like, sometimes I fill it up and sometimes I don't. And I still need to go through and actually sweep all of this but you can see, like, I didn't write any notes this day, which is totally fine. I put like maybe one little sticker on here, which is great. These are just, I love this. This was Sunday. I didn't write anything. I was not feeling good this weekend. And then this is today. And you can see journaling, and then I can put maybe a little, if I find a little YouTube sticker, I'll maybe drop that in here. But then I've got this over here. But this is very easy for me to see like what's on, little extra notes if I need to expand on anything. This is part of my to-do list, but I needed to write out the notes, right? And so I love having a notes page next to my daily, just built in. It's really great. And so you can see this is where I've been putting my Planner Monkey Co. stickers. And then I just have the rest of April in here. And then I think I do have all of May. So the way that I printed this, the rest of April and May, is I did actually print this. I did here, and then I restarted May as its own. Printing was super easy with the file she sent me. And so now I have the whole year with these, and I'm super excited to use these. And I did print these at home on some 32-pound paper, because as much as I love using the Kokuyo business paper, it's nice and thin and you can stuff a lot of things in it. I knew that I was going to be ordering pre-printed items, and those are mostly on 32-pound paper or close to. And so I wanted everything to be pretty similar. And in this, I'm not using fountain pens or anything. I'm just using like a ballpoint pen, a Tombow, and some dot markers, and that's pretty much it. So this next section is my notes section, which these notes pages are pre-printed. I ordered these pre-printed inserts from May Paper Co. Just lined notes pages, you guys. Just very simple, very easy. If I need it to make a note, make a list for something specific, I can do this. And so this is my like little add to planner list where I know I want to get some updated dividers and page markers. I need to include a med log to add to that front section for when I have doctor's appointments, and I can log what the appointment was for and what were the notes. And then I need to do the order tracker. So when I order something, I can mark when it's shipped, when it's delivered, if I returned it, etc. And that's pretty much it. And then I have back here another insert that I'm obsessed with currently, and this is from Infinite Lotus. And I did order this as a pre-printed physical insert, and it's meeting notes. So it has the topic, the date, the start, the end, who's here, the agenda, notes, and any action items that I need to add to my to-do list. I've been loving this because it helps me stay focused when I have meetings. And I just have it divided. This is a Planex Stowe little page divider that I use to just notes, meeting notes. And so I actually need to put more of these inserts into here because I only have 4 more spaces for meetings. And then these are inserts that from Planner Room Shop, and I'm not going to show you what's on some of these. I can show you this. So this is like an inbox for like client deliverables, and I can look at this and actually I think I can be done with that. I have some just plain inbox inserts. And then I also printed, which I think I'm liking better, these inbox a little more structured. These are from the same file. This is an inbox file that I got that had several different layouts of notes. And so I did print a bunch of these, which is really fun. And I am really liking these more structured ones. Then I've got just a page lifter and this little jelly insert. Now, Elena, where's your journaling happening? You guys know, if you've been around for a minute, that I have these A5 Scalogy notebooks that I actually cut down to TN. And I thought, I wonder if I just cut down one to almost like A6 slim height and then just shove it in the back pocket, and will it fit? And the answer is yes, it does, because these are the half-year Scalogies. And so I just moved all my little micro journaling into this notebook, which I haven't really used a whole lot, but I am still using it, and I do plan to keep it in the back of my notebook because I cannot journal in rings, and that's always been my dilemma, like rings bound book, rings bound book. I don't mind doing like a gratitude log or something in rings, but I cannot journal like this in rings. Like it has to be bound book. And I love this algae paper, and this has been actually really nice. And I did a little bit of journaling. This was the April 15th, which was the first day I moved into my ring setup, and all of the rest of my stuff got here like Wednesday, Thursday of that week. And I didn't have this yet cut down, so I took it to Staples and had them cut it down. I filled up my other journaling insert pretty much that was in my TN, so I didn't feel bad starting a new one. And I just slip it in the back here, and so it fits in there. And then this is why I can't use the personal rings covers from Moterm to fit my FCC inserts, because she chunky, she thick. That's where we're currently at, my friends. That is the layout. That is the rings jump scare. I'll definitely share more about some of the recent changes coming up here shortly, but this is where we're at. And this is where I'm very happy. This has been helping me so much. I am still using Notion because I do offload things to Notion, and then like once or twice a week, I go through my Notion tasks and then pull in or offload things from my paper planner. But I have to have something physically next to me to write things down as the day goes on. And this is the best way for me to do it, to keep just visual tabs on what my day looks like. I really loved being able to order physical copies of some of these inserts. And then I also loved being able to prioritize what is worth me taking the time to print versus what is just easy for me to order. And I think as I go through rings, and I will likely be using rings in some way, shape, or form moving forward now that I've learned my lesson, especially on the annual tracking of everything, that I will likely be ordering physical copies of things moving forward, which is really great. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings. A lot of people, when I posted on Instagram, I'm like, rings jump scare, so sorry. And also I apologize that my camera for some reason keeps deciding to go in and out of the focus. With that being said, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much. I'll catch you on the next one.